All right, guys, I got a couple of stories for you this morning. One is an update on a Dallas police officer that was charged in a murder investigation. The other one is a Chomo with a badge and a gun. Yeah, another one. Give those to you right now. Thank you to NBCDFW.com, which is NBC Dallas Fort Worth. A former Dallas police officer arrested on capital murder charges and fired last month has been released following a preliminary hearing Wednesday where the charges against him were dropped.
Well, Chris and Izzy, this was a huge moment and win for former DPD officer Brian Reiser. A month ago, he was charged with 2 counts of capital murder. A little over a month later, he is now walking out of jail, and he doesn't have to worry about those charges for now, at least.
Former officer Brian Reiser had been accused of ordering 3 men, Kevin Kidd, Emmanuel Kilpatrick, and Jamin Simmons, to kill Albert Douglas and Lisa Saenz in 2017.
Reiser was charged in connection to the 2017 slayings of Albert Douglas and Lisa Saenz. He was accused of paying and ordering 3 men to kill Douglas and Saenz. He lost his job as a cop because of the charges and has been jailed since.
During a preliminary hearing Wednesday morning, that was yesterday, Dallas County Criminal Court Judge Audrey Moorhead agreed with prosecutors for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office and said there was insufficient evidence against Reiser to support a probable cause in the case.
But in a rare examining trial today, Reiser's attorney and the Dallas DA publicly came to an agreement that there was no probable cause for Reiser's case to continue, be prosecuted, or even be heard by a grand jury. A detective even admitted on the stand that he made errors in the arrest warrant, like affirming that cell phone data placed Reiser near the area where Douglas and Saenz disappeared in 2017 and were killed. That detail was removed from a new arrest document, which sparked much of today's development.
Prosecutor Jason Fine said during the hearing, "We have an obligation under the U.S. Constitution, under the Texas Constitution, under the Code of Criminal Procedure, under our duty as prosecutors, to see that justice is done. If we get to a point in any case, no matter who the defendant is, no matter who the witnesses are, that we feel there is insufficient probable cause, we have to alert the defense and alert the court. We have to do something. We can't just sit by."
Here's Reiser's attorney, Toby Shook.
That's the major problem with this case, is the decision by Chief Garcia to order that arrest. Why he did that, what information he was given, I think it had to be obviously faulty information he was relying on. He has to rely on someone, and you've seen the affidavit, which had all kinds of mistakes in it.
Reiser, who's maintained his innocence since the charges were announced, let out an audible sigh Wednesday when Moorhead announced her decision, according to our partners at the Dallas Morning News. When he was released Wednesday afternoon, Reiser made a brief statement to the media before getting into his car and leaving. He said, "This department I used to love and respect. They have disrespected me. They've embarrassed me. They've embarrassed my family all over make-believe lies. I was 100% innocent from the get-go. I just want to go be with my family."
Moments ago, he was just let out of jail. He came here in front of our cameras and said that DPD has disrespected him, told us that he has been embarrassed by the department, and then he quickly left to go towards the parking lot and leave the county jail. Now, the investigation into Reiser is ongoing. Dallas PD can add and file new evidence if it wants, but until it does that, Reiser doesn't have to worry about these charges for now. He wants an apology. His family wants an apology, and he says he will now breathe free air. In Dallas tonight, I'm Matt Howerton.
All right, so it goes down and down here. It's quite lengthy. If you want to read it in its entirety, I'll put a link to it in the description box below. But, there's a whole lot here. But the gist is, what we heard was prosecutors were in touch with Dallas Police Department and said, look, since 2019, there's insufficient probable cause to go ahead with this thing on this guy. So my question is, why would the Dallas Police Department turn on one of their own if there's insufficient probable cause for the prosecutors to prosecute him for almost 2 years now? Is it because of all we have to, get rid of bad cops image in America? Or I don't know. It's interesting to me. I'm not going to say that this guy's guilty and there just wasn't enough cause. He maintained his innocence. The prosecutors said, well, there just wasn't enough probable cause. But the Dallas Police Department wanted this guy prosecuted, it sounds like. They fired him for these charges. So, I mean, he wasn't one of those that was on, administrative leave pending the outcome of it. He was basically fired. He was embarrassed by his own police department. So, there's a lot of questions here, a lot of things up in the air. I'm going to consider Brian Reiser to be innocent at this point in time. And, hey, who knew? Who knew? We thought for sure, Brian, that you had been involved in this thing. But now, all of us say to you, you know what? Looks like you're innocent. And it looks like you got, and who knows? Those three guys, they may be druggies who just lied on him. Just said, oh, the cop told us to do it. And then everybody believed it. Everybody ran with it. And come to find out, it may not be true. So I don't know what you guys think. You can let me know in the comment section below. Let's move on. We're going to talk about a Chomo who had a gun and a badge. YourCentralValley.com gives us the story that says Fresno County Sheriff's detectives Wednesday arrested Adrian Enriquez, 52, of Exeter, on charges related to possession of distribution of child pornography.
Right, Catherine. Authorities say he just started working here at the VA a couple months ago. It's where he was arrested while on duty on Tuesday. And detectives tonight calling this investigation extremely horrific.
Investigators say members of the Central Valley Internet Crimes Against Children received a tip which led them to Enriquez, who had been working as a federal police officer at the VA hospital in southeast Fresno.
We don't believe that that the Veterans Hospital in any way knew anything about this or it was any way associated with his employment.
The investigation began with a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about child porn being uploaded to a popular social media app. Detectives say they linked more than 1,000 images and videos stored on multiple devices to Enriquez.
These detectives, even for them, the images that we located on his phone were exceptionally horrific. They said this is some of the worst content they have ever seen.
Detectives found 1,000 digital photos and videos on his phone, which showed toddlers being victims of sexual crimes. I'm not going to read what that says. You can read it.
We're talking small children, 2 to 5-year-old toddlers. It's some of the worst possible content you could ever imagine.
That's what Fresno County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force detectives say they found on devices belonging to 52-year-old Adrian Enriquez.
He is considered a veteran law enforcement officer.
Lieutenant Purcell says Enriquez was a veteran law enforcement officer, having served at the Woodlake Police Department and at Coalinga State Hospital.
We don't want to leave him out in our community, and it's disgraceful to our profession.
And then, of course, if you have any information about illegal sexual material being shared online, you're asked to call Lieutenant Brandon Purcell at this phone number or to submit a tip.
He says in cases like this, it's not just children getting hurt, but families too, when they find out.
This appears to be a completely different life that he was hiding from his family, and his wife has been very, very cooperative with us, as has his son.
Purcell says Enriquez is not cooperating and tried to talk his way out of it, but Purcell says the evidence speaks for itself.
It really just sealed his fate.
So I'm not sure if you can hear my background or not. Usually you're not supposed to say, sorry about all the background, but I've got 2 cats and a bunny rabbit that apparently have all smoked crack this morning because they're freaking, I don't know what's going on with them, man. I want what they're on because I'm kind of tired this morning. But there you go. This guy, he had a gun and a badge, and he was, I didn't read to you what it said. It showed the toddlers, but it has to do with rape and bestiality. And I didn't want to read. I just didn't want to read it. I was just like, I'm not reading that. But that's how sick this guy is. And, people say, well, there's people in all occupations and all walk of life who are guilty of this. There's chomos are in every, But when they have handcuffs on the back of their belt and a gun on their side and a badge of authority that says they can use their gun and their handcuffs, That's a very scary situation when they're like this sick bastard here. Because just think about how many people he may have arrested in his career. He's considered a veteran law enforcement officer. Think about how many times he searched for a gun and he groped somebody. What are you doing, man? I'm looking for a gun. Well, that's not a gun. That's my jewels. And some people might laugh a little at that and go, that's a joke. No, think about how many times that's happened. It's on YouTube somewhere. You'll have to look for it. But there's a video of, I think it was the TV show Cops, if I'm not mistaken, where the cop was Terry frisking the guy and doing a pat down. And he goes, "What's this?" And the guy goes, "My dick." Remember that? It's on YouTube if you want to go look for it. But that's what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that cop anything was wrong with that cop. It was just a funny situation. But think about this cop if he was doing the same thing. "What's this?" "That's my wiener." Come on. But there you go. How many cops out there are like this? How many cops? I don't know. Who was sending him these pictures? That's really what we want to know. He had 1,000 pictures and videos on his phone. Were those that he found? Or were those sent to him by somebody? Was he in a network? Inquiring minds and America wants to know. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers to include the innocent and the Chomo from coast to coast.